we are going to go to our next speaker, another person that's had a lot of success in their professional life, but at the same time realized that they were meant for something more, meant for the ability to speak life into other people by sharing their story. When you actually find your purpose beyond just maybe making money in the network marketing field or the payment processing field, you start to realize that you can actually impact people much more than just from a one-to-one level, but to the masses. So I want to introduce our next speaker, the founder of Chaos to Boss. Ladies and gentlemen, Lynette Sorrentino.
Okay, good morning everybody.
Good morning.
I'm going to give this microphone a try. I like to walk around and talk with my hands, so if you lose my sound, just listen to my loud voice. Okay, does that sound okay? Yes. Wow, Anthony, thank you for that introduction. I got a little emotional there when you said that. Because when chaos tried to break me, my why is what made me unbreakable. So I'm going to take you on a journey here for a little bit. Everybody okay with that? Anybody like stories? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to take you back a long time ago because honestly, I'm not going to try to get in this contest, but I'm going to qualify for the oldest in the room. But there's this network marketing company that you'll find out about that helps me look younger. Okay, anyway. So back when I was a kid, I was in Girl Scouts. Anybody in Girl Scouts? Anybody Boy Scouts? Here, put it up. Right? So I was in Girl Scouts, and I had a chance to go to Girl Scout camp, and that sounded like a wonderful adventure. So I said, I want to go. And my parents were newly divorced, and my mom said, I don't have the $25. See how I'm dating myself already? I don't have the $25 to send you to a week on Girl Scout camp. But then I found out that whoever sold the most Girl Scout cookies got to go for free. So what was my why? I had to make sure I sold as many Girl Scout cookies as I could, and I did. That was my first why. I've always loved clothes. We didn't have a lot of money growing up, so my grandmother either made our clothes, or else we were getting, then it was hand-me-downs, now it's just donations, right? We're getting hand-me-downs, and you can tell I like clothes, okay? Still like clothes. So I loved this top at this store that I was at with my mom. And I said, Mom, I would love that top. Can we buy it? And she said, no, babe, it's $18. I already bought you your school clothes for the year. I don't have enough money for that. And I said, if I get a job, can I buy it? And she said, yes. The next day, I had a job. My why became to get that top that I was making $1.50 an hour. And it took me, I don't know how many weeks. I put it on layaway. Anybody remember layaway? See, everybody can relate a little bit, right? So that became a journey of me figuring out that if there's something that I wanted, I could figure out how to get it. And I was not going to let myself get boxed in by my circumstances or my limitations. Fast forward, whatever I did, I was going to be really good at what I did. I worked 3 jobs, 60 hours a week, and then magically I found out about this world called sales. Because it was the only place that I knew that a woman could make as much money as a man without a college degree. So I went after it, and always was making multiple jobs. I accidentally fell into becoming an entrepreneur when I was working at this radio station selling air. That's a hard job, selling air. And I was selling this radio advertising, and this woman approached me about joining her in this company that was based on faith first, family second, and career third. And it was a way that I could have time freedom, financial freedom, and live the life that was within my values of being like a stay-at-home mom, but still have a successful career. Because I was not wired to be a stay-at-home mom. Okay? So I joined that company, and within 6 quick months, I quit my 2 part-time jobs and my full-time job and joined this company. Fast forward, over the course of 25 years, I earned 14 free cars, and 7 of them were pink. Anybody know who I'm talking about? See why I look good? Yeah. All right.
Yes.
So, and I joined the company in Lincoln. Some of my Mary Kay friends had moved down to Kansas City. They introduced me to their neighbor, Matt Kim, moved down there, got married, had our kids, continued to build my team. And at this point, we were building an organization that I had a team of people coast to coast. So I was not only getting to live my why with my family, both of our kids were adopted. It was all because of Mary Kay contacts. Developing an organization coast to coast, you know, winning the prizes, winning the diamond rings, beautiful full-length mink coat that I forgot to, anyway. Getting to do all these things, and especially the most gratifying part was helping these women be able to supplement their income, stay at home with their kids, have a full-time job, you know, or be able to quit that full-time job, whatever they wanted to do. That really became my why. My original why was just making some money and being able to take care of myself. But then I moved in to be able to help them, and which was fabulous. And life was really, really good. I was pretty much just like all that in a bag of chips. It was in the top 5% of the company. When chaos hit my life was when my husband said, I really, really want to move to the West Coast. And he'd been saying that multiple times. That was his dream. His why was to move to the West Coast. He'd been out there multiple times, loved it. He had quit his corporate job to work with me in the business full time. We were halfway to the top position in the company. And he said, I want to move. And I thought, I don't want to move away from family, which was all within an hour's drive of Nebraska. I've got community here, we've got friends, we've got all these people we love being around. The kids are established. At that time they were like 2 and 6. But I got tired of all of the nagging and the negativity, and I said, I'm Superwoman, I can put my super cape on, and I'll just go do it. My intuition said, you're walking away from community, you're walking away from family, you're walking away with this organization that you've built really strong. Yes, you can go build out there too with no territories, but it just didn't feel right. Anybody ever not follow their intuition? It bites them, right? That was one of those times, and I said, I'll put my Superwoman cape on and I'll go out there. And we moved to Washington State, lock, stock, and barrel. Moved out there, overextended ourselves with our house, with our bills. We were already, money was not being managed well. It was really, really hard trying to start over in some level, because let's be real, we wear a little more makeup out here than they do out in Washington State. They do wash their face, but you get the idea. So what happened was, I'm trying to be all of this stuff. I think, was it Kenya, you talked earlier about having the mask on. We try to make sure, act like everything, I was trying to be the perfect mom, the perfect wife, the perfect Mary Kay lady, trying to build my team. I had all this mask on and just doing it and going through the motions and going through the stuff. And I didn't know anything different. I was at that point really living his why, not mine. Our income went down and the bills were going up. Things were not good.
Lynette, you said you were a Mary Kay gal.
Yeah,
How many cars did you win?
14.
Pink Cadillacs.
7 of them were pink Cadillacs. Give that a round of applause. Thanks, Brenda. And what I will tell you real quick, that's not about how much lipstick you sell. That's about how you invest in other people and you lead people. And it's like leading a volunteer army. You're not a manager, you're a leader. And you apply those skills. So Washington was hard just to break even and make things work. And you know, there are times that something significant happens in your life and it's like, whoop, aha, life will never be the same. I got a call in 2007, Labor Day weekend, from my son, from my brother-in-law, and he said, Lynette, your dad's in the hospital, he's in Kearney, so we all know how far that is for most of you, 2 hours, 2-3 hours drive from Omaha. He doesn't look well, they think he might have liver cancer, but they're going to do a test on Tuesday, because it's Labor Day weekend. But he was turning yellow. So I said, I need to get home. I got on an airplane on Sunday, called a friend of mine that had been a family friend, and said, can you take me to see Dad? We got there on Sunday, and by Monday night, he was gone. What really was the biggest part of that event was when there were carloads of pink Cadillacs that showed up for me. With all these women that I hadn't seen in years, because even though it's one big company and one big family, you still have your core family, and they were all in the Midwest, and I was out here halfway across the country. There were friends that I had really just given up spending time with because of obstacles that showed up. They were there for me, and I realized all these people were showing up to support me. A lot of them knew my dad, and I was just in awe of that because I had just walked away from all of this over here and walked away from a lot of them for somebody else's why, and they still showed up for me. I realized at that point how unhappy I was and how much of I had given up my own why for someone else, and how unhappy I was. And not only how unhappy I was, I really hit the wall in October and realized that not only had I given up my why, but I had allowed myself, hear my words, I allowed myself to be in a financially and emotionally controlling relationship. It was unhealthy, it was passive, aggressive, manipulative, and I knew I had to get out. I went into fight or flight, and I knew I had to get out as fast as I could, because the woman that I had become was not that woman who'd won all those cars. That woman I had become is not the woman that's standing here right now. I was second guessing myself, I didn't trust myself, I had no confidence, I lost everything. I think we all have times in life when we lose that, right?
Yep.
But the difference is what is your why that it's going to kick you back out of that situation? Because we all fall down and skin our knees. We all make stupid mistakes. My why at that point became, I have to get out of this for my kids. I have to do this and be a role model for my daughter. I have to be an example for them, and just being in that unhealthy relationship wasn't going to happen. So fast forward to August of '08, I moved to Nebraska. Got a cute little house in Millard, 3-bedroom house. 3-bedroom house, the only one was occupied because everything got ugly and legal and went on to 2010, and my kids were still in Washington State at 6 and 10. The next 5 years, I can't even describe how difficult that was. There were times that I thought about putting a gun to my head, that I was self-medicating. But I knew I couldn't give up, because what if I did? What was that going to do to my kids? I knew I couldn't do it. I'd actually ended up, so I changed my location, I changed my situation, but it still wasn't quite enough to get me there. I ended up actually leaving Mary Kay and joining and getting into payments because I just needed something fresh and new and different. You know, sometimes you just need a fresh perspective. So I joined a different company, did very well with the company. We had actually a team event at a water park, and my daughter was here for the summer. And she said, "Mom, you need to do some coaching or mentoring sometimes. Sometimes when I get bored, I stalk you on Facebook." Thank you. And I said, "Why do you say that?" And she said, "Well, I'm talking to all of the people that you work with, and they're saying how you help them all the time in your job. And I watch what people say about you on Facebook. Mom, you're changing people's lives." That was my redemption for the choice I made to move halfway across the country with my kids back there. That was my redemption. Thank goodness I joined that company. I was able to average seeing my kids, either them coming here or me being there every 6 weeks for over 10 years. I built my life back, not only financially, but also with community and with my kids. They're now 25 and 29. My son moved here when he turned 19. My daughter graduated from high school, moved here. I look at my life now, and it's all that I have dreamt of being able to do. Getting into payments, I got to help people improve their bottom line. I got to be an example for my kids to be able to see my daughter and be able to pay cash for her wedding. And to watch her now, even when we were in Mexico this last week, the lifestyle I always dreamt of having in Mary Kay, I get to have. But being able to go even to Mexico and watching her talk to all these people, she doesn't know a stranger. They were all telling her she needs to get into sales and she's an amazing nanny, and she denies it. But anyway, but to watch her say with pride that you could see that she was proud of me, I accomplished my why. So here's my question for you. What is your story? What is your why? What do you need to say yes to? What do you need to say no to? What do you need to quit? Maybe it's something you need to start. Something I've learned over the years is there's a lot of people doing stuff they really don't like doing, but they're doing it because they feel like they have to. They've allowed themselves to live in a box for whatever reason that it is, and they stay there. And that's not how you were made. You were made for more. And you never know whether you're at the pit of the bottom of your life and you're not where you want to be. It's how you react to it. It's not what happens. It's how you react to adversity. And how you react can inspire people more than the person who looks like it's got all together. Way more. Your why. I was talking to Terrence. Brenda referred me over to him and he said, well, you've done all this. Why are you unbreakable? And I said, I just don't quit. I just don't freaking quit. The only reason I'm here is just because I'm probably older than all of you and I don't quit, and I'm not done quitting. So I forgot to tell you that I did start Chaos to Boss because of what my daughter said. Because I wanted to see these business owners be able to have the time freedom and the financial freedom, which I'm sure you're going to learn about from Toby tomorrow, on how to go and create that life. Because why be a business owner and work 50, 60 hours a week all the time? We were designed for more, and you never know what you have inside of you. The other part I want to mention that I don't want to leave out that's really, really important is I was also very, very blessed to have that friend that took me from Nebraska, or from Omaha to Kearney to go see my dad. Had been a family friend, and we grew a very, very amazing friendship, and he happens to be here today, and he's hearing me speak for the first time. So Dean, raise your hand. I call my handsome, sexy man. So, so I just want to leave you with this thought. You never know when you're touching people's lives. It's how we act and walk and do. And I got a note a couple weeks ago, and this lady said, and I don't coach her or anything, it's just somebody that I know. She said, Lynette, you're changing lives by living out loud. Thank you for putting yourself out there and paving the way for others. You're truly inspiring.
Ow, frame it.
Exactly. A couple of weeks ago, I hosted a ladies' workshop called Peace Over Pressure. And it's designed for women to be able to take all the junk that we carry, because you know what, I know the burdens and all the crap that I carried when I was in Washington. I'm not the only one who carries that big fat backpack that we need to unpack, because we take it all on. We think it's a badge of honor, right? Well, I had this workshop, and a gentleman I asked to come speak, and he said, I thanked him for that, and he said, and he brought his mom, and he invited his grandmother, and they came, and he said, I made sure I brought my mom and paid for them because my mom has been in a very controlling, abusive marriage with my dad for years and years and years. And I wanted to get her around a strong, independent, courageous woman like you. Those are the best paychecks ever. Those are the best whys. Every single person in this room is unbreakable. You just don't quit. You were all made for more. And that's why when chaos tried to break me, it made me unbreakable. I'm Lynette Sorrentino, and you're made for more.